Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Sri Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. Will you please put it on the screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Prabhuji, is the recording being done now?
Yes.
Oh. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Jevam Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaye Mudirate Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Nashtiki. Hare Krishna to all devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Please kindly accept my humble obeisances. Today reading will continue from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, titled The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 29, titled Talks between Narad and King Parichana Bhari, verses 67 to 77. Starting from text 67, sometimes in a dream we see something never experienced or heard of it in this life. But all these incidents have been experienced at different times, in different places, in different conditions. Text 68. The mind of the living entity continues to exist in various gross bodies, and according to one's desire for sense gratification, the mind records different thoughts. In the mind, these appear together in different combination. Therefore, these images sometimes appear as things never seen or never heard before. Text 69. Krishna consciousness means constantly associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in such a mental state that the devotee can observe the cosmic manifestation exactly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead does. Such observation is not always possible, but it becomes manifested exactly like the dark planet known as Rahu, which is observed in the presence of the full moon. Text 70. As long as there exists the subtle material body composed of intelligence, mind, senses, objects, and the reactions of the material qualities, the consciousness of false identification and its relative objective, the gross body exists as well. Text 77. When the living entity is in deep sleep, when he faints, when there is some great shock on account of severe loss at that time of death, or when the body temporarily is very high, the movement of life air is arrested. At that time, the living entity loses knowledge of identifying the body with the self. Text 72. When one is a youth, all the 10 senses and the mind are completely visible. However, in the mother's womb or in the boyhood state, these senses, organs, and the mind remain covered, just as the full moon is covered by the darkness of the dark moon night. Text 73. When the living entity dreams, the sense objects are not actually present. However, because one has associated with the sense objects, they become manifested. Similarly, the living entity with undeveloped senses does not cease to exist materially, even though he may not be exactly in contact with the sense objects. Text 74. The five sense object, the five sense organs, the five knowledge acquiring senses, and the mind are 16 material expansions. These combine with the living entity and the influence by the three modes of material nature. Thus, the existence of the conditioned soul is understood. Text 75. By virtue of the processes of the subtle body, the living entity develops and gives up gross bodies, that is known as the transmigration of the soul. Thus, the soul becomes subjected to different types of so-called enjoyment, lamentation, fear, happiness, and unhappiness. The last text of the day, text 76 through 77. The caterpillar transports itself from one leaf to another by capturing one leaf before giving up the other. Similarly, according to his previous work, the living entity must capture another body before giving up the one he has. This is because the mind is the reservoir of all kinds of desires. Thank you so much. Harinam Kirtan Prabhu Das ji, can you please take over from here? Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Sure, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So the prayers. Om Madhyanatimirandasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Miritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, your voice was not coming.
Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Now I can hear you. Sir. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from text 67 onwards and continuing the theme of the talks between Narada and King Prachin Barihi. So yesterday, Sundaran Prabhuji very nicely covered the section and talking about the mind and how the mind is the cause of the living entities, the body which he has currently or which he's going to get in the future. So how the mind traps us. So in text 67 onwards, Sri Narad Muni is explaining to King Prachin Bari about the dream that there are some occasions or some circumstances that we experience something in the dream, and we see something which we have never experienced and we experience in the dream. But the Prabhupada explains that all these incidents have been experienced at different times, in different places, in different conditions, which we might not be aware of because we have taken so many previous births, which we don't know. The Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, according to time and circumstances, they combine so that in dreams we see something wonderful that we have never experienced. For instance, we may see an ocean on the peak of a mountain, or we may see that ocean has dried up. These are simply combination of different experiences in time and space. Sometimes we may see a golden mountain, and this is due to our having experienced gold and mountains separately. In the dream, under illusion, we combine these separate factors. In this way, we are able to see golden mountain or star during the day. So Srila Prabhupada makes the point that these are mental concoction, and although they have been actually been experienced in different circumstances, they are simply being put together in the dream. So talking more about this part in the next verse. Mind of the living entity is continue to exist in gross body, and according to one's desires, the desire for sense gratification, the mind record all kinds of thoughts, because mind whatever the desires are there in the mind or in the subtle body, they are being experienced through the body. So body has been given to experience those desires or those pleasures. The mind records all these different types of thought, and all these combinations appear. And then Srila Prabhupada gives an example in the purport that the activities of the living entity in the body of a dog may be experienced in the mind of a different body. Therefore, those activities appear never to have been heard or seen. Although our body may change, from one body to another body, but the mind remains the same, and all the desires, all the all the unfulfilled desires or desires, they are being enjoyed by a suitable bodies. Therefore, it is very important in the practice of our bhakti to watch out our desires, what we desire exactly. Because based on our desires, based on our our feelings, our desires, we are being awarded the next body. So Srila Prabhupada quotes Srila Narottam Das Thakur's song, and he makes the point, the mind is the platform unto which all desires come and go. And then he quotes Narottam Das Thakur, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Koriyahata Aur Na Karihi Asha. Or na karihi asha. So this is the most important point, that a disciple or a devotee, he should not desire anything except fulfilling the words of his spiritual master. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Kariyan Aika or Nahi Kare Asha. We should stick or whatever our Guru, our spiritual master says. We should follow those orders with all our love, with all our heart, with all our energy, and put those orders in our mind for the whole life. And no more desires. One should not desire anything else. And Srila Prabhupada writes a very, very brilliant point. He says, if the regulative principles ordered by the spiritual masters are followed rigidly, Srila Prabhupada writes the word rigidly, the mind will be gradually trained to desire nothing. So we may understand that at the current state of our life, we may be having so many desires, so many thoughts. Our mind is being always, wandering into 10 different directions, expecting, desiring, sometimes some enjoyment, sometimes, puja, labha, pratishtha, fame, experiencing ego, I am this, I am that. In spite of all that, if we continue to follow the principles given by spiritual master rigidly, our mind will be trained. So we are in the process of self-realization. We are in the process of transformation ourselves, So our mind will be eventually trained to desire nothing. So one day we will certainly reach to that level that we will only desire, to serve Krishna, to love Krishna, and to please spiritual master wholeheartedly and desire nothing else for one own self. So that is the stage Srila Prabhupada is talking about. So this is a very, very advanced stage, and we should beg, we should pray to the Supreme Lord that, we should live to follow the orders of spiritual master and fulfill his desires. There is a nice quote I heard some time back, that in that it says, that it was telling about Srila Prabhupada disciples, that Srila Prabhupada disciples, Srila Prabhupada came to US, and they don't know Krishna, they don't know who is Ram, they don't know the Indian culture at all. So, but they become attracted to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada has that power, Srila Prabhupada has that purity. Srila Prabhupada is such a great personality. Although they don't know any of those culture, they put their full faith in Srila Prabhupada, and they executed the orders of Srila Prabhupada taking a lot of risks. Srila Prabhupada used to give, big tasks, big project. They just executed those tasks, following the orders of spiritual master with full faith. And so this is the result, just by following the orders of spiritual master, they became such a great devotees they became. So this is the power that following the orders of spiritual master is the way to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita also, the success of spiritual life is to please the spiritual master, is to please and satisfy the spiritual master. So we should desire everything. That is why we sing Mangala Arati, basically offering praise to our Guru, because Guru is that medium. The text 69 onwards, Srila Prabhupada explains the higher stages of bhakti. Basically, is telling what is Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means constantly associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In such a mental state, the devotee can observe the cosmic manifestation exactly as the Supreme Personality of Godhead does. So this is an advanced stage, very advanced stage, that one can experience Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the entire cosmic manifestation. Wherever that person or devotee goes, he can experience the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it's not always possible, such observation, but Srila gives an example of, the planet Rahu, that there's a planet called Rahu, which is observed in the presence of full moon, exactly like that. Srila Prabhupada quotes a nice verse from Brahma Samhita, Karmani Nirdanti Kintu Ja Bhakti Bhajam. He tells that when a person is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, his stockpile, so this word is very nice, stockpile of material desires is minimized. So this is what we are in the process, right? We have so many desires. If we just analyze our own self, 10 years ago, we must be having so many desires, right? And if we see now, we are still having material desires, so many things, but we still have a lot of spiritual desires as well, So there's a shift. And going forward, we'll have more spiritual desires and less material desires. So that is how it should be. It should not be opposite, that spiritual desires are less and material desires are increasing more and more. Because to fulfill those material desires, we have to take the birth again. This is the concept we need to understand. The more we desire, the more we suffer. This is a very powerful statement by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Yeah, I was in 2009. He made this statement. I was in a yatra. The more we desire, the more we suffer. So instead of desiring materially, instead of desiring this, to gain something materially, which is so much temporary, we should desire spiritually. We should cultivate spiritual desire. And the easiest way of cultivating spiritual desire is to associate with devotees, because devotees desire spiritually. They have Krishna in their heart. So once we associate with them, the desire they have will also cultivate same set of desires. So again, association is the key. So this stockpile of desires become visible on mental platform by the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada makes a point that all these desires which are chasing us one after another, by the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can see all those desires and how temporary, flickering, we can see all of that in one shot. And we can see that. And then Srila Prabhupada talks about the Rahu planet, which is example. So Srila Prabhupada makes the point that sometimes this Rahu planet is present in the full moonlight, and it appears that the modern And then he quotes about the modern mood, the mission. So many moon excursionists, they most likely, he said, they are not going to the moon planet, but they are going to the Rahu planet. And that is how Srila takes this point. So ultimately, the point this entire verse or 2-3 verses has been conveyed is that we need to absorb our mind with Krishna consciousness. If we are absorbed or fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, then we will be freed from the past and the future material desires. So our current level, our current state of our mind and its consciousness, that will determine our future body. And that based on that, our current state of, if we are fully Krishna consciousness, all our past sinful desires or whatever it is, it will be destroyed, and the future also will be destroyed. No more material body, because again we need to fulfill those desires, because the subtle body is carrying all those kind of stockpiles of desire. Again it will take the birth again and again, again and again, again and again. That is the root cause. So Srila Prabhupada again quotes, like we can see all the desire at one shot. Srila Prabhupada quotes the Mother Yashoda example, that by the grace of Lord Krishna, Mother Yashoda could see all the universe, all the planets within the mouth of Krishna. So that is by the grace of Krishna. Similarly, a Krishna consciousness devotee can see all the dormant desire at one time, and he can finish all the future transmigration. And Srila Prabhupada makes a very nice point, this mercy is been given to some devotees, some special devotees, because Lord Krishna wanted them to come back to spiritual world. And he's giving that devotee, these kind of, he's making the path clear for those devotees to come back to him, to return back to Godhead. And another point Srila Prabhupada makes that, let me read this. Because a Krishna consciousness person does not have to accept a future gross body, his recorded desires are fulfilled in a dream. We therefore sometimes find things in a dream, never experience in our present life. So basically, sometimes, there are desires and it's been fulfilled in the dream, not in the, devotee does not have to take a future gross body to fulfill that dream. So that's how it is. Text 70, as long as, the subtle body, which is consists of the mind, intelligence, ego, and the sense object, and the reactions of material qualities, and the consciousness of false identification, because mainly I, me and mine, and all this relative object and cross body exist. So to fulfill the desires of mind, it requires the gross body made up of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And Srila Prabhupada makes a point of the consciousness of material identification, because this is the prominent we can see in today's world, the consciousness of I and mine. This is mine. This is mine. And that is the consciousness. So the Srila Prabhupada makes a point that the entire process of bhakti is to transfer this consciousness of me and mine, I and mine. Aham mameti, this is mine, that is mine. Instead of, thinking I and mine, you need to think this is all Krishna's property. My body is been Krishna's property. My mind is been Krishna's property. If one can simply understand this simple fact, he can achieve the highest perfection. If we understand a simple level, my body belongs to Krishna. This air belongs to Krishna. The water I'm drinking belongs to Krishna. The power which I am getting, this body to see, to hear, to taste, or to eat. All this power is supplied by the soul, and the soul is being a part and parcel of Krishna. So everything belongs to the Lord. So this is the understanding we need to obtain. And once we have this understanding, we can easily understand, the dharma of the part and parcel of is to love and serve Krishna. This is the consciousness which we are looking for. This is the real Krishna consciousness, and absorbing in Krishna. And once we have this consciousness, all our actions and reactions of material and gross body, they will no longer bother our spiritual soul, because we identified ourselves as being part and parcel of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada tells in the next shloka that sometime when we are in a deep sleep, okay, let me go quickly, there's no time. Again, Srila Prabhupada giving multiple examples, but the most crucial is Srila Prabhupada is quoting the Narad Pancharatra or the Bhakti Samrit Sindhu, Rishikina Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uchyate. That devotional service means engaging the body and the spiritual senses in the service of the Lord. That is the key. Okay, text 72. Srila Prabhupada gives very nice things that when one is youth, all the 10 senses and the minds are completely visible. And when somebody is in the womb of his mother or a boyhood stood, the sense organ or mind is covered. Basically, when a boy or a child is there, his senses are not fully active. But when he becomes a youth, all his senses are fully active. Just so Srila Prabhupada gives an example. Okay, let me go to the next one. So Srila Prabhupada gives 3 type of the co-current stages, the activities what we do, what are the stages. So one stage is called bija, the root. Another stage is called kutastha, the desire, and the another is called palonmukha, about to rectify. So all these stages, the manifested stages called prarabdha, already in action. In a conscious or an unconscious state, the actions of our subtle or the gross body may not be manifest, but such states cannot be called a liberated state. Srila Prabhupada tells that a child may be innocent. Sometimes we say, right, the child is a pure soul, the child is very pure because they don't speak lie, they don't have any hypocrisy, they're very simple-hearted. But Srila Prabhupada tells that does not mean the child is a liberated soul. Because everything is held in reservation, although the things are there, but it's not been active. So it is going to manifest in some time, in due course of time, it's going to manifest. Everything is stored in a stockpiles of, the desires, the subtle body, and it's going to manifest through the senses eventually. That is the point Srila Prabhupada makes. Text 74 onwards. Again, the concept of material body has been emphasized, that how the sense objects, the sense organs, the Jnana Indriya, Karma Indriya, including the mind, the total 16, how they combine with a living entity under the influence of, the material modes of nature, Sattva-guna, Tamo-guna, Rajo-guna. And that is how the conditioned soul is made up of, practically. So, and Srila Prabhupada quotes a beautiful verse, as soon as this concepts of senses, Karmendriya, Jnanendriya, and everything comes, Prabhupada quotes this very nicely, 15.7. Mama vamsha jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatana manasasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. So very, very powerful shloka, and Lord Krishna is telling that my all the living entity in this conditioned world are my part and parcel. Mama vamsha jiva loka. And then Lord Krishna tells that due to the conditioned life, because we have been conditioned of, aham amiti, I, me and mine, this is mine, this is mine. We are struggling very hard. We are struggling very hard with our six senses and the mind. So we are struggling very, very hard because our senses are crazy. They are always craving, looking for material enjoyment, always thinking how I can be happy. So how can I enjoy? The tongue wants to eat something nice. The ear wants to hear something nice, So always craving. This much craving is there. But in the process of bhakti, engage the same senses in the service of the Lord. The senses get purified. So bhakti starts from Cheto Darpan Marjanam, cleaning the heart, cleaning the dust, cleaning the material desires, cleaning the gutter of our heart, which is filled with so much past sinful activities and filled with so many desires. So we're in the process of cleaning our house, cleaning our body, cleaning our mental state, and cleaning our consciousness. And the best way of cleaning is, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The next verse, 675. Again, the similar concept has been emphasized, the transmigration of soul and how different types of enjoyment, the soul becomes subjected to different types of enjoyments, lamentation, fear, happiness, and unhappiness. So we experience all those things. Srila Prabhupada says the mind becomes polluted by desires for sense gratification in the material world. The living entity drops into material condition, as explained in this verse. And because of that, we transmigrate from one body to another and become entangled in this material existence. We are entangled here. So our process of Krishna consciousness is always think of Krishna. It is the transcendental process by which one can convert his original spiritual existence, revert to his original spiritual existence. Then Srila Prabhupada quotes, Manmanavad Madbhakto Madhaji Mam Namaskuru Mame Veshasti Satyante Pratijani Shriyosime. This is the formula Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing. In every verse, if we understand this, most of the words Srila Prabhupada quotes, either Bhakti Samrit Sindhu or so many Bhagavad Gita verses, again emphasizing on the process of carrying bhakti, process of following spiritual master order, so that we can break the cycle of birth and death and so many bodies. Again, Srila Prabhupada quotes again two more powerful verses from Bhagavad Gita, Evam Parampara Praptam and Dehinosmin Yathate. Again, emphasizing the same thing. Text, the last verse for today. An example of caterpillar has been given, that how a caterpillar transport from one leaf to another leaf, by giving up the another, by capturing one leaf before giving up the another. Similarly, according to the previous work, the living entity must capture another body before giving up the one he has. Because again, mind is a reservoir of all kind of pleasure. Now a very striking point has been mentioned here, and I love this, this point very nicely. Srila Prabhupada writes that even at the point of death, he thinks of his present body and relative connected to it. So because we are so much so much bodily consciousness. So much bodily consciousness. We don't have time for spiritual life. We think so much about bodily consciousness. Even at the point of death, we are thinking about the body and our relatives according to that. And that is the basic root cause, that we remain fully absorbed in bodily conception of life. And at the point of death also, we don't want to leave the body. We don't want to leave the body. So Srila Prabhupada, because we are being dragged out of our material body, we have been forced to quit the body. Although our desires don't want to leave the body, but we have been forced to leave the body. Sometimes you have been forced, to do something. This is how it has been. Something similar has been done. Srila Prabhupada makes a nice point here. Srila Prabhupada tells about the leaders, so-called leader and politician. Srila Prabhupada tells that this is common among so-called leaders and politicians who think that without their presence, the entire country and all society will be in chaos. This is called Maya. Srila Prabhupada tells again, political leaders don't like to leave their political post, and they either have to be shot by an enemy or obliged to leave by the arrival of death. So Srila Prabhupada is quoting politicians that they have been so much attached to their chair, to their post, to their position, what they have been getting. And they don't want to leave their post and position. Even though they become 80-year-old, 70-year-old, they are not thinking about spiritual life. They don't want to leave that post and position. And basically they will be dragged out by the forces of, either the old age or the time or their death. They've been so much attached, or they have been shot by an enemy. And by superior arrangement, a living entity is given another body because of the attraction of the present body. Then Srila Prabhupada quotes the laws of nature. Prakriti kriyamanani guna karmani sarvasha ahankara vimuratma karta muti manyate. The bewildered spiritual soul, under the influence of material modes of nature, thinks, I'm the doer of the activities. Again, Srila Prabhupada is quoting, many Bhagavad Gita verses, and just one example I want to mention. Srila Prabhupada tells that a person may be enjoying in the body of a prime minister, or a dog, or a hog. That person don't want to leave the present body, and sometimes they lie in a coma many days before death because they don't want to leave the body. They remain in a coma because they are so much attached to their body. Okay, last line for today in this verse is Srila Prabhupada tells, the mind can also get a body like those of dogs and hogs to absorb the mind. Please hear devotees attentively. This is a very, very nice statement. Please hear. To absorb the mind always in Krishna consciousness is therefore the greatest perfection of human life. This is the greatest perfection of human life, is to absorb our mind in Krishna consciousness. So that is a golden statement we can meditate upon. We can think more in this direction. That is the greatest perfection of human life, is to engage our mind all within Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Please forgive me if something I spoke inappropriately. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah, thank you so much, Harinam.